is my slam time. Gonna bust up your behind. This is my slam time. Gonna mess up your whole mind. This is my slam time. Gonna bust up your behind. This is my slam time. Gonna mess up your whole mind.
Hello and welcome to another Let's Have a Look What Taylor's Made episode. Oh, we could call it Taylor Made. We're recording these back to back. Hell yeah.
You just witnessed it there, folks.
Yeah, witnessed a lightning bolt hit me from somewhere. That was beautiful. Anyway, yes, this is Taylor Osborne. That's why the name works. Say hi.
Hello.
Taylor is our creator extraordinaire. If you missed the episode on him showing me around the arena and talking me through all the decisions that were made into making the EWA arena, go watch it. It looks amazing. Today, we're going to be covering the EWA Championship, which is also made. So, show the people the small version.
There.
It's right there. It's empty. Vacant holds it. There it is. So, that's a small version. We're going to get a much nicer view now. But, yeah. The EWA Championship.
I'm going to say right now, this is preliminary. It doesn't get uploaded because the belt gets very much kept to the champion.
Yep.
There may be a few little tweaks yet to do, but this is basically not design tweaks. Like I'm thinking of maybe toying with like the color here on champion or something like that. That's about it.
Yeah. Okay. So it's basically the finished product. We just might have a V2, like the IWGP title. There might just be a V2 that's like just a little bit different.
Yeah, that's
but we're not going to have a V5 where it's just suddenly a different shape and looks like a Transformer head.
Yes, we're not going to have the like. Why have we got the butterfly?
Unironically, I really like that belt, but I know no one does, so we'll just move on.
I'll be honest, I like it, but it's too different from what it should have been.
Yeah, I get that. It's like that's what people don't like is change. We've established this. Like, yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, forget them. Forget that quote unquote real wrestling. Let's have a look at EWA. Like look at this. I love it. I mean, to be fair, this is less surprising to me than the arena. I'm gonna be less sort of going, oh my god, look at that, because like this, I knew you were basically making it very similar to the old EWA Championship on the old games. But
I like that in Boston.
Yes, that's really nice at that angle when the light catches it just right. So yeah, talk us through the creative process. You take the wheel on these ones.
It's the belt. This is gonna be a quick one. I hope everyone's got something planned in the next 10 minutes.
I wouldn't bank on it the way we waffle.
Well, true. As you can see, there's not a hell of a lot to really go on with the belts because they're really they're nice, but there's not a lot you can really do with them. You can't reverse the spin either, so if I ever go to twist it, I've got to...
you only spin it one way?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It only works one way.
I love that you can rotate up and down using the right analog stick, but you can't rotate left and right using the analog stick. They decided
that controls the camera.
That's just
that controls pan. And I can even go like, look, it's that.
So dumb. Anyway.
I know. But yeah, so... As Basin just said, he knew it was going to pretty much stay the same. And for anyone asking why would I have kept with very similar design that I've had for so many years, because it works.
Because he likes it. Honestly, is the answer, isn't it?
Yeah. Huh. Well, it works. Like every time I go to think about changing it, like this year again, I did the same sort of thing. I sat there and I honest to God thought about, do I want to make any massive changes to that? But this is our main champion. This is our world champion. The only difference I made here is where those red yin yang the dragons normally are. That's normally where we have custom side plates.
Yeah.
As it was sort of said bluntly to me, no one ever uses it except for me. So I'm like, well, screw it. No one gets custom side plates now.
And the thing is the only people that will have a copy of this belt are you, me for the purposes of pointing out people for entrances, and any champions or former champions. No one else needs this belt. So. Yeah, they can put their own side plate on if they want, and they can send those side plates to me, and I'll put them on as well, so they're on EWA TV. But yeah, we don't have a lot of need for side plates. It's a cool idea. I'm a fan of the side plate thing. Like whoever came up with that for WWE, kudos. I like it, but we don't need it at all.
And again, the majority of people when I turned on because I was really hands on. with the champions. Would have a new champion crowned, or the first champion crowned. I'm the first person to PMing them to ask them outright. We have custom side plates. What would you like? And 9 times out of 10, the answer was, you make nice stuff. Can you decide?
Can you make me a side plate?
It's your character. Why am I doing like? So it got to a point where it's more difficult, I've discovered, to do something like that because you're trying to capture the essence of like a character, and
someone else's character. Yeah, and no one knows them better than them, kind of thing. Yeah, I get you.
That's it. And I've got a minimum input. It's like, well, what would you have it as? My guy? Excellent, thank you. I'll take a photo and I'll just cram it in the circle slot. But yeah, again, I went with the only reason I'm thinking with this minus tweak, like, the only thing in here I would probably be toying around with is that champion. And it is just a little bit of do I want so much red and blue on it? I probably will end up with yes.
Yeah, I like it. I like the contrast between the red and the blue, and how it's a key feature of EWA is the red versus blue. So
that's it, and it stands out. It really, it does stand out. The word champion is clearly there.
Yeah.
The main differences we got from this year to last year's belt, as I got to rotate, look at the back of it again, is I actually we don't have any. Normally with the front plate I pick, we got some sort of I go to point so you can see where my finger's pointing. Around the edges, along the main belt, there was sort of like little metal rivets, sort of there that weren't there, but it didn't really matter. And the strap is a slight different shape.
I noticed that it was a rounder shaft. There wasn't like a point of it at the top, was there? And it was like a more circular, like center bit.
And the reason I settled on this one is those wonderful little like triangle sections that you can see there in the embossing. I really liked with those. So I went, I'm used to that. Life's a lot easier when you're the one making all the decisions when it comes to this. And I did change...
Just for those that aren't sure, because obviously there's no mouse pointer on this, to the left and right of the center plate, you mean there's like an upside down triangle coming from the top of the belt, and
there we go.
They stand out a bit more now. And between the center plate and the red side plate, there's like 2 triangles on each side, kind of pointing at each other. Just in case anyone's going, well, you talk about triangles, like them. So yeah,
right there. And then of course the main base pattern on the belt, because I did have it straight black, and I went, no, again, it's, to me, this is our world champion, trying to make it look as nice and fancy as possible. So it sort of have that effect in it. You can even think of those as diamonds, less than glass or rock or whatever you want. So
and also the every belt's on a black strap, innit?
Yeah, like they really are. Like,
so it's nice for it to stand out. It's not like, basically, if you like showed someone an image of this for like half a second and they're familiar with us, they'd be like, oh yeah, that was the EWA title, because it doesn't look like any other belt immediately. Because of all the blue and like you say, the pattern strap and stuff. They'd only need a very brief few frame glance and they'd be like, oh, you just showed me the EWA title, I know that one. Whereas if you flashed up, a gold belt on a black piece of leather, people are like, yeah, I didn't see that for long enough, which one was it? Kind of thing. Like, I have no idea what belt I just looked at. So I like the instant recognizability of it.
And the other thing that's brand new for this year, like, this has not been used in EWA up until now, it's the first time we're actually seeing it, is that 2-tone logo in the middle. Normally I've just got like a silver center plate with a black inlay doing the thing. That's just
oh, you mean the non-black bits being 2 different grey / silvers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's nice.
So, because normally that grey one would be the silver, same as the white, and the black would just be the silver. So, yeah, I got that one in here, and it really.
Sorry to interrupt. Hang on. I think someone might have just knocked at my door. One sec. Great timing.
Yes.
Hang on. Hang on.
Hang on.
There we go, I can hear you again.
Hey!
Blooming water meter, go away. Like, I need your water meter. No. Okay.
It's there. Piss off. It has water in it. But yeah, where were we?
You were talking about the grey being different from the silver, I believe.
I'm pretty sure we wrapped up that pretty much right on that. But yeah, so all right, hold on. So yeah, you'll probably do your little.
Yeah. Unless I can get it fluid, but probably not.
No. So yeah, there's sort of like again, as much as I sort of kept with it, I did toy around for a few different ideas and all the rest of it. And I just kept gravitating back to, you know, the way the belt looked. Like, it works. It's same as the roulette title. There may be a few little changes that you and I might pick up on because we've seen that belt so many times and all the rest of it. Like, it's the way it is. Like, you and I will probably pick up on a lot of differences a lot quicker than the average person out there, particularly the new viewers.
Yeah, honestly, I immediately spotted 2/3 differences with the belt as soon as you opened it and was like, oh, he's done this different. You know, like, looking forward to seeing, like, your explanations of, like, what your thought process was this time. Whereas most people watching this will just be like, oh, so that's what the belt looks like. You know, like, we're just looking at it from a different lens. You know, I'm looking at it compared to the old one, whereas most people are just looking at it for the first time.
Yeah, so I chose a whole new strap pattern this time around because I did want to take it in a little bit of a different direction. But so like this, I sort of kept going back to this one. I wanted to get away from the other strap just because I have made that belt for 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
Pretty much exact carbon lift of that title from 2K18 went to 2K19. I saw this as an opportunity for a bit of a fresh start, breakout of it. So I checked out a few patterns. This one I kept sort of going back to, and that's the sort of one of the rules I've got with myself with creation. If I find I'm going back to something over and over, that's stop overthinking it. That's the one that I like.
Go with your gut kind of thing.
Yeah, like creation's easy to get lost where you're finding yourself sitting there, Aaron. And if anyone's watching this gets stuck on creation, they're wondering how I sort of, it seems like I'm just like, oh, look, I'm doing this. And it just sort of is there. No, I can get stuck and be spinning my wheels for days on some things. And Basil knows it because, you know, he'll be like, when's the arena? Shut up and get away from me. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's like there's very rare, but there's these moments where I get like stuck.
Yeah.
And it's mainly because I'm second guessing myself. I'm not just going with the gut, as you put it, and listening to my own instincts. Like, again, as I said, I'm going back to this belt pattern. It's catching my eyes. It must be fitting. And when I sort of zoomed out and all the rest of it, it was like, no, this is right. The roulette title, possibly see. The main reason we're going to see some differences with that belt is I've got more pieces to create with as far as what I've given myself. The previous incarnations of the title were very rigid, and that just goes down to the tools that are at my fingertip, not in game but out of game, as far as being able to customize my images. That's one of the biggest differences that we got from this year from 19 is I've learnt a lot more when it comes to uploading the images how I want them, not upload the raw form and then trying to use 2K's image editor programs to try and alter it. It's a nightmare. So a couple of great programs. One of them you put me onto with what you use, and it's been my go-to image editor ever since. So yeah, again, if anyone's out there watching this sort of like the arena one, this one, any future ones really, and you're wondering what my thought process is with a lot of things, that's the main one. Another one is if you've got the ability, like you've got a PC or laptop that allows you to do it, edit the images how you want and then upload them for your designs. Like, it is so much easier, and you'll find you're happier with the finished product than if you're just sort of cramming something into a place just because that's how you got to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's still like I thought I'd better offer some advice because I ain't got much else to say about the belt unless you've got any questions.
Um, no, you covered most of you covered all the things I noticed that were like different about it. The one thing I would say may come up as a question, so I'll try and ask it on behalf of people. A lot of people that are fans of the old wrestling may very well have got into it through WWE, and if they've got into it through WWE anytime since 2004, the main centerpiece or the main championship is just a massive logo. Talk us through the EWA logo being quite small on our title.
You say that, and it's like, oh, well, you mean the font?
No, I just mean like the WWE title belt is
Oh.
basically a massive WWE logo. Like, the main thing about that title belt is that it belongs to WWE. Whereas I know like our dragon symbol, but our dragon symbol doesn't mean EWA. The letters EWA mean EWA. You know, kind of like so that's quite
I got you.
that's quite a minor part of the belt actually. You know, so
Honestly, I'm gonna get it like a little. I guess I'm no way to answer this except for like from a personal standpoint. I don't like those belts.
yeah,
It's that like everyone's entitled to their opinion and all the rest of it. My favorite belt as far as world champion has been one of two. It's either the beautiful big gold championship, and whether that's the WWE version or the WCW version, I love the big gold belt.
yeah, big goals.
It just looked like a championship belt to me.
It looked like a world championship. You know.
Yeah, that's it. It's so intricate. It's so beautiful. It was so basic when you just looked at it. Like it was really designed like with word I just said that can't now.
Intricacy.
Yes. But when you looked at it from far, it was just a big gold belt.
Yeah.
It was basic.
It was very intricate, and you could admire the detail up close. But you could see someone carrying that belt through the airport from the next gate over and know which world champion it was just because of the belt they were carrying, because it was so recognizable from such a distance because the shape was distinctive, and yeah.
And it could be part of why I'm pretty, like we won't get into it, so let's not get into it. But part of the Triple H reign of terror, why I'm so defensive of that, because it brought the gold belt back. So of course I'm happy.
Yep.
The other one I liked was there's a couple of variations of it, but it's that winged eagle WWE title. Again, it's the one that Hogan was carrying during the 80s. The one Stone Cold held as well before they changed it to the spinner title. Was it the spinner title first?
No,
it was
it was my favorite
before
belt.
they merged it to the Undisputed.
Yeah.
And again, it was probably because of the age, because that belt to me always meant WWE. When I thought WWE World Champion, even to now to an extent, that's what I picture. And that's, getting a little, again, personal with it. That's because of the age I was. Like, I grew up during the Hulkamania and to put age on myself sort of thing. Like, my childhood hero was Bret Hart when he was with the Hart Foundation sort of thing. Like, so that was what was ingrained into me sort of thing. Like, sort of when I pictured it. That Universal title, not Universal title, the Undisputed Championship, when they merged the two belts, that is, again, it's a beautiful looking belt, but it was just not what Big Goldie was around, so it was like, no, you go away. Give me that one. So yeah, it's sort of, I wanted to sort of try and showcase something that would be iconic. When people see it, they would sort of think of those sort of aspects with it, where it's sort of like, at afar, like you said, they're carrying it, you can tell what it is, you can tell where it's from, and all the rest of it, and not just be as gaudy as like the big W.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to make it feel with some prestige. That's why I picked the ring that's got some jewels encrusted into it. The EWA is sort of small up the top, champion down the bottom, and that dragon logo just like big right in the middle.
Yeah.
It's those sort of aspects. Like when they see the roulette title, they'll be like, oh my god, that looks totally different.
Yeah.
Similar with the tag belt sort of thing. It's like, whoa. It's sort of, that was the mentality when I was making this. It was like, this is our world champion. And that's one thing you and I are talking about. We're going to make sure that we reference it's our world champion, not just our champion. It's the top dog in our company.
Yeah.
the belt needs to look like a top dog belt.
Yeah, and I think something I'd like to just point out really quickly as well for people is you mentioned before on 18 and 19 you made the same belt, like pretty much carbon copy, but it's important to remember pretty much because so you were just talking about WWE titles and there was these are what I call them: the Hogan belt, the Austin belt, the Undisputed belt, the Cena belt, and then the two versions of the current belt because they changed the logo, didn't they? There's been 6 belts since like 1984, basically. Like there might have been slight tweaks and stuff, but essentially there's been 6 designs. Every time a new game comes out, you have to remake this belt, and it's going to be slightly different each time, I would imagine. Even if you try to carbon copy it, there's going to be little details you do slightly different, just because you remember it different, like, oh, whatever, So, as much as I'm not saying expect a massive change, we're not going to go from IWGP V4 to IWGP World in one jump. But maybe one game we will do. Maybe one game Taylor's going to turn around and go, you know what? I think it's time for a distinct new world title belt. Let's go for it. But for the time being, it's going to be similar. But there's a chance on WWE 2K23 this shape of strap isn't available. Or this background isn't available. There's a chance there's going to be an enforced change, so the belt will stay consistent. I imagine the belt will always be a blacky bluey kind of colour with red bits on it and with the dragons in the middle. I imagine that's a thing for the foreseeable future. But the minor details may change year on year because they either have to or because of, let's face it, human error, like just misremembering exactly how you did something, very slightly different shade of red, very slightly different shade of blue, whatever, like stuff like that could be changed. So expect more variability in our championships than like a real wrestling one, just because of the nature of WWE don't have to make a new belt, and even if they did, they've probably got it cast set somewhere, they just say, oh yeah, make us another one of them, kind of thing, like just churn them out. But we don't have those options. A new game comes out, we change the new game, it has to be made from scratch by hand, like the new belt. So
well, here's the entertaining thing with it. You're right with the memory thing, because I did do this one a bit more off memory than before. I've already gone and gotten screenshots of all of them, because I'm sitting there going, well, I'm not making that mistake again. And I considered it a mistake that I forgot that it had those other bits, and I've looked at it and I'm like, I really couldn't be asked. It looks nice.
But yeah, but even with screenshots, like I say, the red could be slightly different. Something
I've
could
got
just
a
be
picture
positioned
of that
very
too.
slightly different. Oh, you've gone all in. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, but even with that level of detail, you're still remaking it from hand. There's still a chance something will be slightly different, even if it's not enforced by the game, which it could well be.
There's a chance the colour numbers are slightly different in the new game versus the last one. Like I get what you mean.
Yeah,
everyone else listening does too.
There's every single title's being hand. Seems weird to put it this way, but handcrafted. Even though you're not actually using your hands to craft a physical object, you're still putting the pixels in place by hand. In effect, you
basically is, because I've not got have you got previous saved data? You do enter here, here.
Hey, wouldn't that be good? Transfer your custom belts. That'd be so good.
Are you listening, 2K?
I know,
please. Please.
But yeah, so I just wanted to make that point that there probably won't be only 6 different designs of belt in whatever that is, 50 years. 40 years. It's there's more likely to be more variation year on year. But for this year, I highly doubt any change is going to be made to the title, because
hell no.
Yeah, Taylor's crafted away at this until he's exactly happy with it, and why would he then put himself through that just to he's probably not going to make any tiny tweaks, except, like he said, maybe change the colour of the champion or whatever very slightly. But once the belt's on EWA TV, that'll be the final product, and there'll be no need for minor tweaks, and there's definitely no incentive to go, well, it's been 6 months, scrap that, let's make a whole new belt. Belts gain prestige in part by looking the same over a long period of time and only changing periodically. That is actually a factor in it. There's been a bit of criticism of not EWA, that's us, of AEW for for already having had 3 different women's world titles. You know, like, it's like, well, could you not have just designed it right the first time? Like, you've only been around 3 years, how have you had 3 different belt designs? You know, there is that aspect of it where people like the consistency. They accept that the belts are going to change eventually, but they do like the consistency for a good few years at a time. Even like the Cena belt that was super unpopular at first, there was still a lot of people defending it like, well, now that we know it's not just for one reign of Cena, we kind of have to keep this belt for a while, you know, because this is what it looks like now, for better or for worse. There's no point in changing it again after 2 years, you know, like...
I'll give the Miz credit on it, because I think he helped get that belt sort of established as it's less Cena, and it got started talking as the spinner belt, because he went and got that Edge as well, because he had the rated R logo.
Yeah, Miz fixed it upside down, didn't he? Yeah, fixed it in place.
Yeah, so it was the M, so it sort of started to, as much as it was so symbolic of John Cena, it started to move away from that the more that there were other people having it, and they sort of did their own little things with it.
Yeah.
I really wish we had got more of Brock Lesnar with that belt, because I could see him out there DJing with it.
This modern day Brock Lesnar with that belt would have been amazing.
Yeah, with can we have that?
But speaking of that, the whole fact that the spinner belt started off as John Cena's smoking skull, essentially, you know, I think they did that and then it just sold so well that they were like, yeah, no, we're sticking with this. I think the whole intention was for it only to be for his title reign and then go to a more permanent new belt, but they just never did, because, not for a long time, because why would you? And then The Miz had a version, and Edge had a version. Like I say, Stone Cold had the smoking skull belt, and Rock had the Brahma Bull belt that never made TV, and like, even like Warrior had a different colour strap. Thoughts on custom belts? I mean, I wouldn't do it for every single title change, because that's just pointless, then you don't have a world title belt, but what are your opinions on potentially doing that somewhere down the line when it seems like a relevant thing to do?
Say the door's open on it, and I mean that in the sense, like, we don't know what gold we're going to be sitting on. For all we know, we're going to have someone that's going to be well over, YouTube audience is going to react well to it. They're going to hold the belt. I don't even really look at it like hold the belt for X amount of time, because as long as I get some input from that champion as well, my life makes a lot easier, and I could possibly do a custom belt for him quite happily.
Well, just to that point, you can't cater for how long they're going to be champion, because admittedly there's a bit of a delay before putting it on YouTube, so we'd know if it had only been a 1 or 2 month reign, because there's going to be about that much delay before it goes on YouTube. But if they get to like the second defense, the second like special, like they've been about 2 months, we don't know if they're going to lose it the next defense, or if they're going to hold it for 3 years. Like, it's not rigged, you know, like, so we can't gauge it off that, you know, like, that's not a factor. It's just, like you say, just be popularity and uniqueness of character.
I was trying to spare feelings. Basically, if it's someone that I know, well, this wasn't a fluke win sort of deal. Like, I was trying to spare feelings, but yeah, let's boil down to it. We're dealing with people behind the controllers, and even they could be surprising. And as you said, it takes a bit for us to get through the editing and all the rest of it. If this person, by the time we're getting the first show edited, we'll sort of have a bit of a gauge, like, this wasn't a fluke, sort of thing. Like, and as I said, the biggest thing I'd need, and I'd be open for it, is input from that champion, even if they did their own mock-up. Like, that's one thing I'd tell them. I'm more than happy for them to copy the belt. They wouldn't be able to upload it due to, I don't give them an uploadable feature of the belt, but they can quite easily take some pictures of the belt, or do share play and show me exactly what they've done or anything. It's easy enough to give me idea on what they were doing. They don't need to do a finished product. They just need to give me an idea. And from there I can go, I can go nuts with it. And, people might be sitting there going, well, that's a bit lazy on my behalf. But in my defense, my mind races with, Fazer knows it. Like, once my mind starts getting geared into the creation with the arenas and all the rest of it, I'll start coming up for arena ideas that I'm working on. It's like, we don't have a show for that. Well, we better make one. Because look at this.
It's not even just how much you create and other stuff. It's also what we alluded to, I believe. We were talking about side plates. No one knows that wrestler better than the person who made them. Like, Taylor does not know what sort of custom belt that wrestler would make, as well as the creator of that wrestler. That creator of that wrestler should be in tune with their character enough to know well, if they were going to have a custom belt, or if they were going to have their own side plates, or if they were going to have this, or if they were going to have that, it would look like this. It's a big part of the reason why we don't have any input whatsoever in people making their own wrestlers. Because it's their wrestlers. You know, like, if they ask for advice, if they come to us and say, hey, these are my two versions, which one do you think works better, then we'll give advice. But we're not going to people saying, right, your gimmick, you're going to be this, and you're going to do that, and you're going to be this, and this is going to be your name. Because why would we? Like, they're not going to make that character that we give them, as well as they're just going to make something that is their own idea. You know?
That's it.
So, yeah, so I think that's a big part of it as well. It's not laziness, it's familiarity. Like, of course they're going to know what to do better than Taylor does in terms of making a belt tailor-made, no pun intended, for their guy. Like, of course they're going to do that. Of course they're going to at least design it better. You might be able to make the finished product better with their design in mind, but they're going to design it better because it's for their guy. You know, like, it's...
And to highlight this thing, like, there might be people out there, you've met Taylor Osborne, you've watched classic matches, you've seen bits and pieces and all the rest of it, you sort of know the bit of the motif and all the rest with him. You may be sitting there going, oh, well, if Taylor had a custom belt, it would be this, 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 and this. Ibeza has seen what Taylor has for a custom belt, and I guarantee you none of you would pick that it would be that.
I guarantee everyone's going, well, you'd replace all the blue with purple and all the black with green, and no, that's not what he'd do. I can tell you now, that's not what he'd do. We'll save that, though, just in case it comes around, but that's not what he would do.
It will, I keep telling you. The belt is coming home with Unhinged. We may not win it, but it's coming home with us.
I think we might have to, if they're not in the final, I think we might have to ban Funhinge from the arena for the final, just so the belt's safe. Kick them out and keep them out. Who was it who got locked in a locker room with a forklift on, like, old school WWE?
Oh.
Was it like...
God, who was
it
that?
DX or something to not make the save?
I think it was.
With the corporation or someone, or NLD locked them in the locker room with a forklift, and someone like that. That's what we'll be doing to Funhinge. We'll be like, hey, look, there's candy in here, and then when they all go in, just like lock the door and stick like a truck against it, and be like, there we go, the belt is safe. But yeah, right, we're a bit off the beaten track now, but this is I mean, no surprise to me. It looks lovely. You know, I've come to expect this of you, but that doesn't make it any less of a lovely looking belt. And this will be the prize that awaits the winner of the EWA Championship tournament that will be kicking off basically as soon as we start the show. Off camera we've discussed some of the ins and outs and the logistics, but at this point we still don't know exactly how many competitors we've got, so that does factor into it, obviously, or how many we're going to have at launch and how many aren't quite going to be ready. Some people can't afford the game straight away, stuff like that. Some people haven't fully created their wrestler by that point. There's a lot of factors, like just as an example, last time in the last video where with the arena I stipulated that there was 10. In between videos, we went and looked, there's actually 13, so I haven't got a clue what's going on. So, yeah, watch this space, basically.
And also, to that point, that's sort of why, if anyone's, like, wondering, like, we keep mentioning, we sort of, like, a month or two down the track sort of things, the start date, hopefully. I don't know if we've actually said it on there or not.
Oh, yeah, 1st of June is the planned start date, assuming 2K allow us to use custom arenas in time.
That's it. Main reason we got that is to allow people the affordability to buy the game, to allow them the time to get their character made and familiar with them, and any tweaks and changes. Because very much like the title belt, once we get going and your character debuts on the main show, you can't just show up the next week with like, you've shaved your head, have you? Yes.
Or even worse, the other way. Oh, you had a shaved head last week. Why have you now got long, luscious blonde locks? What's happened there? Where have they come from?
What happened to all those tattoos you had?
Why is your character now
all
black?
Different? Yeah, I thought you were a cruiserweight. Yeah, you're dragging a truck behind you. Like it's the same sort of thing where you sort of
minor tweaks, different gear, different coloured tights. Fine, whatever. Do as you please. All your tattoos have been removed and you've grown 2 foot. No. That's a different guy.
We didn't pay for that surgery.
Yeah.
But no, and people were wondering, like, why are we so... I don't know. You can put in insert words you want there. It's nothing more than just the whole thing, what we're trying to present, what we're trying to do. Like once the finished product's out there and you're actually seeing it, once you go watch some more classic matches, you'll sort of get an idea. Like especially the ones that are up right now. You go watch those, and then you come back when you watch these and you listen to the way we're talking. We say it during the classic matches. We've learned.
Yeah.
We know we got a lot bigger an idea on what we want, how we want to get there, and all the rest. There are no classic matches that are up at the moment. I'm pretty sure we say it numerous times. We're just getting our teeth cut into how this whole thing works.
Yeah. And we mentioned in the Arena video as well how we're trying to present this as a wrestling product. Again, pulling the curtain back, I do like the editing and uploading to YouTube bit. Like, you know, I'm in charge of that department, if you like. I want people to forget they're watching video game footage. I want it to be a wrestling show. Like, you know, except we don't have to all learn how to flat back bump and, you know, potentially break each other's arms and legs and stuff. Like, you know, it's all from the safety of holding a controller. But I want it to be a wrestling show. So, just like Rey Mysterio never came out 1 week 7 foot tall, you know, like, then neither can you in EWA, you know, because you are now this character. That character exists, and like I remember we had someone in 2K19 that was like, I want my guy to have long hair, and like so. I think I actually ended up going through the creative wrestler stuff, and I was like, okay, well, in a couple of weeks you can progress to this haircut, then into this one, and I was like setting out stages where his hair would have grown, you know, like, and be like, and then by the time this comes, you will have the haircut you want, but we're not just doing it. You've got short hair this week, long hair next week. That's ridiculous. That doesn't work, you know, like so we'll work. People come to us and say, I want my guy to have long hair. Okay, but this is how we're going to need you to do it, you know, like to make it at least make some sense. So, yeah.
It's pretty much the only thing we get restrictive on. So, like, they come to us, it's like, I want bright pink gear. Good for you.
Yeah.
Aren't you a colourful thing?
Why haven't you already made it and uploaded it and told us about it? You know, like, just go wild, you know.
There's some things we just look at them and it's like, why are you asking my permission? Just do it. Oh, I was worried you went. No, we don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you're the same height? Yeah, same weight? No, you're a little heavier? That's all right. How heavy? 1 pound. Oh, whoop-de-doo. You know,
I'd love it if someone was paying so much attention to their character they were fluctuating their weight by like 1 or 2 pounds. I was like, you are invested.
you will be hired for character development.
Yeah. But way off the beaten track now. But yeah, just to get it back to what we were talking about, like the plan going forward is to start off with the tournament. This is the prize. If you want to see where the majority of those tournament matches are going to take place, go watch the arena tour, because that's the arena for. We said in the video, at least 80% of the matches that you'll ever see in EWA, at least on WWE 2K22, they're going to be in that arena, because, you know, that's the weekly show arena. So the specials will have their own arenas, but that arena is not going to be changing like week in, week out or any of that nonsense. That's it. That, you know, this belt, that's not going to change, you know, every couple of months. This is the world title. You know, like that's.
Oh yeah.
That's how we're doing it. We're presenting it as if it's real, and that's what we're aiming for. Now, is there going to be some ridiculousness where people get, you know, thrown off a Hell in a Cell and then come back within an unreasonable amount of time because we don't want to write someone off for 6 months and they don't get to play video games? Yes, probably. But in terms of the presentation, it's going to be as close to real wrestling as possible.
Let's see a midget suddenly be able to choke slam a giant guy. More than likely.
Although, I don't actually know how the limitations of the game work with stuff like that, so maybe not. Who knows? That's down to the game. That's 2K's fault if you see that. That's 2K's fault, not ours.
That's it, yeah.
But if you're excited for all that stuff coming, like I say, tentative start date, 1st of June. Assuming 2K give us what we want, insert Batista meme here, and we can use the custom arenas online in the very near future. Then yeah, should be 1st of June. That's kickoff date, first show. We're looking at taking a couple of months to crown the first champion. We're looking at doing a really methodical process. Again, it depends on how many people we've got, but that's the dream scenario at the moment. Is it taking a good couple of months and everyone having the equal opportunity, and you know, most people fighting most people. You know, it's not going to be a single elimination, it's over in a week or over in a single show tournament. It's going to be a process with other stuff fitting around it and storyline stuff and what have you. It's going to be a fascinating process, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I know I'm biased,
it's
but
always,
I really do.
Oh, it's always fun from our aspect because we're part of the booking behind the scenes and all the rest, as you've been told bluntly, I think, in a couple of videos.
Yes.
It's always fun for us as we watch things grow. And one of the most exciting things I know we both have talked between ourselves about is watching people that grow in ability, because, you know, steel sharpens steel.
Yeah.
And these are gamers playing other gamers, and everyone picks up new little tricks, and they get better, and they get better, and they get better. And suddenly you got someone that went on a legitimate, they seemed like they struggle. Suddenly everything clicks, and they just go blister through all the roster. It's so exciting to watch.
I think the best example of that is we've just on Classic Matches not that long ago covered the first ever EWA champion. He was not surprising. He was our best wrestler. Like, he was our best player. Like, I think undeniably at the time.
Yeah.
I think he made both tournament finals with two different creative wrestlers. Like, you know, and I think we all knew very early on, yeah, this is kind of our guy to beat. He's, like, very good at the game. Like, you know, and there's people that could beat him. Like, he wasn't, like, unstoppable, but he was definitely the standard, you know, kind of thing, the person we were working to beat. But then when we relaunched for 2K19 and we did a tournament, I don't think he'll be offended if I say the champion was not probably who many people would have picked at the start of the tournament.
I'll be honest, he was not in my top 5.
Yeah. And but that isn't to try and insult him, because he still did it, so he's obviously good at the game, because he still beat everyone in EWA out, you know, to become champion. He didn't fight every individual person, but he beat people who had beat people at the end of the day, you know, so he proved he was the best. He won a tournament fair and square. The point is, like you said, steel sharpens steel. The overall level had raised so much that there was no heavy favourite anymore. There was people that we thought were favourites and more likely to win, but we were wrong. We weren't wrong the first time round. We knew who was going to win the EWA title, I think, ahead of time, pretty much. It was pretty much like, yeah, I'll be surprised if he doesn't win it. Whereas this time it was like, oh, yeah, I'm kind of surprised that guy won it, but it could have been between any one of, like, pretty much everyone in the tournament, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, it's so, like, say, steel sharpens steel, it's so much closer now, and I think that makes for riveting stuff. There's not going to be such a clear pecking order that there is in WWE and AEW, an Impact and New Japan, where it's like, oh, this guy's years off winning the world title. Like, you pick someone on the roster and conceivably in a few months they could be on enough of a run to be challenging for and winning the world title, like, because it's so close, I think, EWA.
Oh, yeah. And with this year's game too, has brought it even, like, because we're all learning again.
Yeah, I think it's going to bring it even closer. Yeah, absolutely.
Flatten that curve out real good. I've played a few dark matches with some of our guys, and you could already see, like, where there were gaps in people's games, it's closing.
Yeah.
Like, very quickly.
So, if you're going to ask us who we would predict as the first EWA champion, Taylor will say Taylor, and I'm going to give the honest answer and just say, I have no idea. That's the honest answer. I have absolutely no idea, and I'm just looking forward to seeing who does it.
Well, I'd love to say Taylor, but, you know, I've got to be honest with this, because, you know, it's not as kayfabe as, you know, it's meant to be. I get too caught up with laughing at people, and I can still do it in this game. So there's a good chance I'm out in the first round. I don't know. I'm the same as you. Like, it could go any way. We don't even have a tournament bracket or anything else up yet. So
but there's like a good 5 or 6 names that you could just throw out, and you'd be like, yeah, they're probably all the favourite. And then you look at the other names, and you're like, well, it could just not be one of the favourites as well. It could be any of them. It could be any of them as well.
The term "any given Sunday" really does apply to us now. Like, because all it takes is one win, and that could change the fortune of lots.
Yeah, I agree. But anyway, yeah, let's not try and predict the first ever champion. Maybe just before the first card comes out, before we've got any results, maybe we could do some predictions. That'd be fun. Let's try and once we know who's in it and we've covered it with, that'd be fun, wouldn't it? Should we do a predictions video for the first ever champion?
Yeah. Once we get everything sorted out where we can actually look and you can bring up the graphic and we're doing that.
Yeah, I'll make the first match card. We'll have it sat there ready to post, and then before anyone gets any chance to do the matches, we'll record the predictions. Then we'll post the match card, and we're like, okay, let's see how this all plays out. Like, not match by match, because there's going to be a lot of matches to establish champion, but just a general pattern of who's going to do well, who's going to, you know, get to the finals, who's going to beat who in the final, that sort of thing. I think it'd be fascinating. See how well we know our roster.
Oh, we're doomed.
Yeah, but yeah, if you are looking forward to EWA and you haven't already subscribed, you've been sat here listening to us ramble about just anything that crosses our mind for God knows how long now. Like, just hit subscribe. You obviously like it here. Let us know in the comments what you think of the EWA Championship, the belt. We've alluded to the fact that there's going to be a roulette championship, which is exciting, a couple of times in this video. That's our standard go-to secondary title. I think it's a very unique concept, so I'm looking forward to one. That's not even made yet, but once that's made, I'm looking forward to doing a video like this on that. So again, subscribe so you don't miss that. And yeah, drop a like. We appreciate all the likes. It lets us know we're doing something right, but also helps us out in the algorithm, gets more eyes on the channel. You have anything else to add, Taylor?
No.
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 There you go then.
Yeah.
Right. Bye.
Bye.